Top of the morning, Bay with Good Morning Bay.
Get to know about the traffic on your way and what's news around the Oh, and a song to hum along with and sway.
Get your perfect entertaining start to the day.
At 9 a.m. every weekday morning with
Mahima's
Good Morning Bay.
Good morning, Bay. आप सभी लोग हमारी तरफ से एक प्यार भरा नमस्ते,
Namaskar.
वनकम,
Namaskara.
खुशामदीद,
Assalamualaikum.
सत श्री अकाल,
మీకు అందరికీ వందనములు.
जय स्वामी नारायण,
जय श्री कृष्ण.
जय जनेंद्र.
हमारे इस्माइली भाई बंधुओं को बोल दे या अली मदद.
मौला अली मदद बोलते हैं सारे फीजिए मतलब बोलेंगे नीसा बोला बड़जान. हम आ गए हैं आपके प्यारे महिमा के द्वारे. मैं से फालतू बाबा
And of course myself फालतू रानी लेकर आपके लिए एक और ड्राइव टाइम that's going to make it totally exciting and totally मस्तानी बन जाने.
Shudha Bhajan, of course, आज आपको मालूम है it is the 442nd day of our sheltering in place, and yes, yesterday we had a small miscount, and we also had a nomenclature of the day also, by the way. We actually named the day as Monday, which should have been Tuesday, but doesn't matter, but the week already started already. So June 1st actually happens to be a Tuesday, and today being a Wednesday, but that's June 2nd already. And yes, we're gonna go and take a look at what's happening on the roads. Aaj being the 2nd of June, Manajan, raste ka haal saste mein.
It's time for the Bandu Traffic Update. Call us from wherever you are at 408-912-2479.
Again, Manajan, 408-912-2479. If at all I missed out some location for you guys. Well, people are still getting back from holiday, I suppose, because I see traffic in Napa Valley now, Manajan. That's right, the heavy traffic over there in Napa Valley. On 29, the CHP does not say what is the reason behind the particular backlog, but of course, there's some obstruction there, which is slowing down traffic. High wind advisory on 580 eastbound, watch out for that area. And of course, a traffic accident on 580 exiting at the Hacienda Drive in Pleasant Timberjan. It's actually blocked the ramp over there, so I see some sluggish traffic in the region, but eventually it'll just clear up. Watch out for that. Speaking of sluggish traffic around the Emeryville area for sure. There's a huge backlog over there, and also on the 80 bridge, getting onto the bridge from Emeryville is what the traffic is shown right now, Baljan. Apart from that, South Bay is looking clear. There's no incidents report for you guys. It's a wonderful traffic report for you guys, saying everything is smooth sailing. Weather-wise, dekha jaye to, of course, but it's going to be not too hot, not too cold as well. It's going to be in the upper 70s maximum. And right now might seem like it's like 60, it is 67 and all, so it'll maximum go about 10 degrees during the day. And the whole week actually is looking nice and sunny, so it's pretty good. We'll have the highest of around probably mid-80s, that's tomorrow, Thursday. Apart from the weekend is going to be nice and pleasant, because not going to be too hot and too cold, because the uppermost number we're going to hit on weekend is going to be 80. Yeah, it's not much, but don't worry about that. 80 is nothing compared to where we were on the weekend. It was very hot. Anyway, but right now, that was your traffic update for you guys. Let's quickly go and take a look at what's happening in the news. Are you going to give us the news directly, or are you going to start off on the headlines, Fatrani?
I could give out whatever you prefer, Altu Baba.
Let's do the news. Let's go, Banjan. Aaj from the news desk of Media Mahima. This is the news for today, which is June 2nd. As you guys know, there's a lot of stuff happening. Mahim County actually has gone to yellow tier already in our area, Banjan. And June 15th, another 15 days, everything is going to open up. Woohoo!
Yes, absolutely, Panajan. Starting with local news, Panajan, let's tell you that California governor and the lawmakers disagree on revenue estimates. Democrats in the California legislature said Tuesday that they think that the state will have about $20 billion more to spend over the next 4 years, highlighting a disagreement with Governor Gavin Newsom about the trajectory of the state's finances as it emerges from the coronavirus pandemic. California has an extra $76 billion to spend this year. State law says about half of it must go to public education, be put in reserves, or be used to pay down debt. Newsom and state lawmakers can spend the rest of it however they want. Newsom wants to spend most of that money on things that do not need ongoing funding, including giving $8.1 billion of it back to taxpayers in the form of rebates. Tuesday, Democratic leaders in the state legislature agreed to do most of the things Newsom wants, but they also committed to spending billions of dollars on programs that require ongoing spending. Lawmakers pledged to spend about $1.3 billion giving government-funded health insurance to low-income immigrants living in the country illegally who are 50 years older or 50 years and older. They said they would spend $1.1 billion to increase the rates for state childcare and preschool providers, and they agreed to give local governments $1 billion per year to combat homelessness. So you could get more information about this. This is really crucial, right? At this point in time, Altubaba,
I agree.
what's happening with our budget. So if you want to get more information about that, you should go read up on mediamahima.com. San Jose police were investigating a shooting early Wednesday morning just east of downtown, where they found one man with a life-threatening injury, but his condition later was upgraded, according to the police department. At about 1:20 a.m., officers responded to the 900 block of the McLaughlin Avenue on a report of gunfire. Police said there is no known suspect or motive at this point. The man's condition reportedly has improved this morning. As police said, he would survive. In other news, Bandajan, employees might have to keep masks on past June 15th, says Cal OSHA. That's right. California, I think it's called what? Occupational Safety and Hazard. Something. In 2 weeks, many of the COVID-19 restrictions will be lifted, including mask wearing guidance for those who are fully vaccinated. While customers may be able to ditch the mask, the California Division of Occupational Safety and Health is considering workplace rules that are much stricter than state and federal guidelines and would require employees to keep their mask on even past June 15th. Frank Rothstein and his co-workers at Prima Wine and Spirit Shop may have to wait a bit longer than they had hoped before. Unmasking is what the latest news is saying, according to NBC. Cal OSHA is considering a proposal that would require workers to continue masking up unless the business has documentation that all the employees have been fully vaccinated. Now that's another ethical issue that's come up as to why should people be forced into being vaccinated, and then there's this whole controversy and debate that's going on with regard to whether people should reveal there should be vaccine passports or not. Do you have an ABCT about that, Altubaba?
No, I don't.
Okay, let's go on over and get you some national news, Banjan. President Joe Biden will sit down for one-to-one talks with Republican Senator Shelley Moore Capito, aimed at a breakthrough on a bill to revitalize U.S. infrastructure, though the two disagree on what that word means. Biden and Senate Republicans remain hundreds of billions of dollars apart in their proposals, largely because the Democratic president has a more sweeping definition of infrastructure that includes funding for schools, home health care, in addition to roads, bridges, and other physical assets. The two parties have been inching closer together in the recent weeks, most recently when Senate Republican negotiator Capito last week unveiled a $928 billion counteroffer to Biden's $1.7 trillion proposal. Today's meeting is going to take place at around 2:45 p.m. Eastern Time in the White House Oval Office and comes as Biden administration faces pressure from some of Biden's fellow Democrats in Congress to move forward. A Florida man accused of storming the U.S. Capitol pleads guilty, and he for his role, and also he was a person who was wearing he was clad in a Trump T-shirt and was waving a red flag that said Trump 2020. In U.S. District Court in Washington, D.C., Paul Allard Hodgkins pleaded guilty in a virtual hearing to one count of obstructing an official proceeding. The charge can carry a statutory minimum penalty of 20 years in prison, though U.S. District Judge Randolph Moss said federal sentencing guidelines call for a sentence in the range of 15 to 21 months. In the meanwhile, what is former US President Donald Trump up to? Well, his blog page, which was just launched last month in the wake of major social media platforms banning him, has now been removed from his website. Trump aide Jason Miller on Wednesday said that the page, which had been called From the Desk of Donald J. Trump, would not be returning. It was just an auxiliary to broader efforts we have and are working on, Miller said in an email to Reuters. Plans for the Republican former president to launch a social media platform have been teased for months by Trump's team, but with little detail. And in other news from across the United States, Panjan, AMC theaters, their shares have surged more than 40% to a fresh record. Shares, the theater chain operator shares were recently up 47% at $47.25, a fresh record. Its market value has ballooned to more than $19 billion, eclipsing that of video game retailer GameStop, another favorite of retail investors on forums such as Reddit's Wall Street Bets, whose market value recently stood at just over $18 billion. And then there is the $15 billion jet dilemma facing Boeing CEO Dave Calhoun over how to rebuild sales in its core airliner business that has sparked an international debate and put the future of the largest U.S. exporter on the line. Industry insiders say Boeing is reeling from safety scandal following the crashes of its 737 MAX airliner and an air travel collapse caused by the pandemic. Those crises have overshadowed a deeper, longer-term risk to the company's commercial passenger jet business. More on all of this you'll find out on MediaMahima.com. Those were the news headlines from across the United States and the news in detail from here in the Bay Area as well.
And of course, just right now, time for us to go and take a look at Gane Ka Kida. We'll be back with the world news for us. But abhi ye gana sunega, which actually tells you not to worry, but fikr not. Pritam ke composition, Amitabh Bhattacharya ke lyrics, sung by a ton of people. I wouldn't say ton, of course. Nakash Aziz, Dev Negi, Amit Mishra, Amitabh Bhattacharya himself, Sriram Chandra, and Antara Mitra. Only one female? Doesn't make sense. Why?
Because there's only Shraddha Kapoor in the song.
चिंता करके क्या पाएगा मरने से पहले मर जाएगा ओ चिंता करके क्या पाएगा मरने से पहले मर जाएगा सुनिए गाना काम आएगा बस खाले पीले झीले क्योंकि जिंदगी है शॉर्ट अरे पगले फिकर नॉट अरे पगले फिकर नॉट अरे पगले फिकर नॉट अरे पगले फिकर नॉट जो भी होगा होने दे अरे पगले फिकर नॉट.
That's exactly what I always wonder, Faltani. I don't figure about it anyways, but the point is, how come girls don't have friends? I had a lot of friends who were girls.
Yeah, in this, they show that she is friends with all of them.
Oh, yeah. Hello. One girl. Why can't she have friends of her own who are girls?
Why she does have friends.
No, they don't show her
But they
the
don't
song.
show.
Why?
The movie is focused on Sushant Singh Rajput.
Oh, yeah, whatever. Whatever. So you're saying that Dana didn't have any friends at all? This never mingle and all?
Whatever, man. Generally,
Okay, by the way, this is actually set in the past, right?
Yes.
Ah, that's why.
It is set in the past when...
80s ke time pe.
No. Yeah. I think so.
Something on that time. Because there was no cell phones, there was no internet, there was nothing. Because
Well, those are the days in engineering colleges where there was still a huge gap with regard to STEM. Even today, there's probably one girl to every 50 boys in an engineering college.
What? Really?
Yeah.
One girl to 50? Seriously?
Yes.
No wonder. People have got the wrong impression right now.
Okay. So are you going
Boys are going into engineering college for wrong reasons.
What?
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
So you're saying medical med, there's more girls, is it?
No, even in medical. I think in any professional... now there are more women doctors that are
You
coming
do
out.
realize that people are going to go check the statistics after you share this,
Yes,
right?
please. Yes.
Please go
There's
and
a
push your
huge
children
gap.
towards... But actually, America mein nahi hai, India mein hoga, मेरे ख्याल से.
Huh?
America mein nahi hai, India mein hoga.
I
Right?
guess so.
Yeah.
No, America में भी है बहुत क्या. America is like We were this close to electing a woman president and we didn't.
You still are on that.
I will
thing.
never
My
give up
God.
on that. Seriously.
Okay, Baljan, we'll make sure we can amend the constitution to make sure all the presidents going forward are going to be only women. And right now, Fatwani, it's time for us to go take a look at what's
Why
happening.
would you do that? We
So-
don't need a handout.
Who asking you? Who's
Yeah,
giving
why
you a
would-
handout?
why would
People
you-
are asking. I'm asking you to change the writing over there, not a handout. Please, my goodness. Anyway, Banjan, right now here's the world news for you guys. And oh my goodness, Faltwani, what's happening here? Okay, Banjan, we're going to get into the world news. Faltwani, go ahead, take it away.
Israel's opposition leader moved closer to unseating Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Wednesday and forming a new government after agreeing to terms with several parties, including one led by Defense Minister Benny Gantz. A spokesman said. During a 12-year run in top office, Netanyahu has been an often polarizing figure at home and abroad. An end to his tenure may bring reprieve from domestic political turmoil, but major shifts in Israel's foreign policy appear less likely from the staunch U.S. ally. Yair Lapid, a centrist tasked with forming the next governing coalition after the conservative Netanyahu failed to do so in the wake of an inconclusive March 23rd election, has until midnight on Wednesday to present a final slate. In the meanwhile, Banijan, Israel is also reporting that there is a definitive link between Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine and something called myocarditis. Israel's health ministry said on Tuesday that it had found a small number of heart inflammation cases observed mainly in young men who received Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine in Israel, and they were all related to the vaccination. Pfizer said in a statement that it was aware of the Israeli observations of myocarditis and said no causal link to its vaccine had been established. It said adverse events are thoroughly reviewed and Pfizer meets regularly with the Vaccine Safety Department of the Israel Ministry of Health to review data. In Israel, 275 cases of myocarditis were reported between December 2020 and May 2021 among more than 5 million vaccinated people, the ministry said in disclosing the findings of a study it commissioned to examine this particular matter. The IATA chief, I think it's called the International Airlines Transport Association, is now saying that COVID-19 test data supports easing of travel curbs. That's right. Global airline body IATA stepped up its pressure on governments to ease travel restrictions on Wednesday, pointing to UK testing data that showed how low the incidence of COVID-19 was among arriving passengers. This data tells us that we can do better, IATA Director General Willie Walsh said, citing a 2.2% positive rate among 895 tests carried out in February through May, according to Britain's National Health Service. Universal restrictions on people are no longer needed, is what he said. In some news about Altu's favorite character in the international scene, Alexei Navalny, let's tell you, Banujan, he has lost his bid to end sleep deprivation torture. Jailed Kremlin critic Alexei Navalny on Wednesday lost a legal bid to overturn his designation as a flight risk, a label which he allows prison guards to subject him to torture by sleep deprivation. Apparently, Navalny, one of President Vladimir Putin's most prominent critics, has been subjected to this torture by prison guards based on the fact that he is a flight risk. He's serving a 2.5-year jail term for parole violations in a case he says was trumped up to thwart his political opposition against the Kremlin, something that it denies. The 44-year-old politician went on a hunger strike in late March to demand better medical care, which he got. He has since started eating properly again. Currently at a different prison facility with a hospital to which he has temporarily moved when went on hunger strike. He has mounted 3 legal challenges against the prison where he was being held beforehand and is expected to return to the IK2 Corrective Penal Colony 100 kilometers east of Moscow. And he complained that he was being deprived of sleep by guards who woke him up every hour during the night when they filmed him and reported he was present in order to officially verify his whereabouts. So you could, of course, his bid has been rejected by a court in the Vladimir region. Everest climbers are struggling to return home amid Nepal COVID-19 curbs. Climbers from the Mount Everest and other Himalayan peaks are struggling to find a return flight back home after Nepal banned most air travel to contain a surge in COVID-19 cases, mountaineering operators and hikers are saying on Wednesday. Most regular international flights are closed through June as a deadly second wave of the coronavirus hit the Himalayan nation tucked between China and India. And speaking of India, Banujan, let's tell you that the Army Chief, General M.M. Naravane, on Wednesday asked troops to be fully prepared to make all security challenges, including Pakistan-abetted terror, during a two-day visit to Kashmir to take stock of the ground situation. General Naravane, accompanied by Northern Command Chief Lieutenant General Y.K. Joshi and 15 Corps Commander Lieutenant General D.P. Pandey, visited different units and formations in the hinterland on Wednesday. The chief was briefed by the local commanders on the existing security situation and the measures being taken to identify and target the network of overground workers involved in the radicalization and the recruitment of youth into terrorist ranks, said an officer. In the meanwhile, Chinese President Xi Jinping has asked the country's bellicose official media and wolf warrior diplomats to present the image of a credible, lovable, and respectable China to the world, in what observers see as a rare admission of Beijing's growing isolation exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic. Xi, who is 67 years old, who carries the image of being the most powerful Chinese leader after Chairman Mao Zedong, with possible lifelong tenure in power, in a candid conversation at a study session for the ruling Communist Party's top leadership on Monday, said that new concepts, domains, and expressions should be created to tell China's stories in a better way to the world.
Yeah, now they also have eased the thing of population, right? They want more Chinese to be born.
Yes.
That's nice. They used to be, there was a time when they actually supposedly had one, right? When did it become two?
They did. They had two at some point, and then it became.
I think India actually was overtaking them already. So, yeah, India, okay, but then now there's a problem with India also, because now television has become the favorite pastime right now, and Twitter and TikTok, so not much of work is being done in that space.
Right.
So probably abolishing all those things will definitely help, to grow the workforce.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, speaking of India, Altu Baba, let me tell you, there's some updates, some key events that have happened. In the second COVID wave in India, 64% of Karnataka's villages have been hit. COVID-induced clots now causing near-fatal gangrene in the intestines, apparently, in Indians. Economists are seeing a bigger hit from the second wave than the government would like to admit at this point. Rogue antibodies are to blame for the recurrent fever. People who have recovered from COVID-19 are still getting a recurrent fever, and apparently it's rogue antibodies that are causing this. And after reporting its lowest daily rise in COVID cases since April 8th, India has reported a slight increase in cases on Wednesday. The country reported 132,788 new COVID cases and 3,207 deaths in the last 24 hours. And in news from New Delhi, Bandhujan, a court here in New Delhi rejected a Delhi police plea for 3 more days of custodial interrogation of Olympic medalist wrestler Sushil Kumar over the alleged murder of a young wrestler at Chhatrasal Stadium, and sent him to judicial custody. Sushil Kumar, who was produced before Metropolitan Magistrate Rashmi Gupta at the end of the 4-day police custody, was sent to judicial custody for 14 days. That's pretty much the news that we have from India, Banujan. We will also be back tonight live at 5 on the Pam Pam Show. Don't forget to tune in to enjoy another wonderful Wednesday edition. In the meanwhile, here is the final iteration of our Gaane Ka Kida. Have yourselves a wonderful Wednesday.
Hi guys, this is Shraddha and you're listening to Radio The Hottie, where the entertainment gets hotter.
कर जाए